What's up, everybody? It's Simon from Lake Hub. Today we're talking about fishing with live bait from the shore. It's a hard thing to do, mostly because you have to set your depth with your bobber and then you have to try to cast all that line out, and it's really hard to do. It's really hard to do without like flinging your bait off the end, from getting too much kind of launching power off your line. And if you've never fished with a slip bobber, I'm going to tell you, your world's about to change. These things are awesome. Now, I was recently talking with a buddy of mine who likes to fish a lot. He likes to fish with live bait a lot. And he had heard of slip bobbers, but he never actually used one. And I'm going to tell you, when I was introduced to these about 11 or 12 years ago, these things are a game changer. These things are awesome. They're not cheap, compared to foam bobbers because they're made out of balsa wood. You can see that. They do look really cool. But they are really effective. Now here's how it works. There's a tube in the middle and the line runs through the middle of the bobber and the float's on the top. So what happens is that the reason why it's called slip bobber is because it slips up and down your line until it hits a stop. So you set your stop at whatever depth you want your fish to sit at, right? And so when you're casting, this can slip all the way down to your bait. And so when you're casting, you're only casting starting with like 6 inches of line or 8 inches of line or wherever, maybe you have like a split shot. Wherever you set your split shot, this is going to sit on top of that. And then you can cast further out. You can be more accurate about where you're placing it. You're not going to lose as much bait, from just like flinging it off from the force and everything. So then when it hits the water, your bait is going to sink and the line's going to get, the float's going to stay on top of the water. The line's going to go through the middle of the tube until it hits wherever depth you stopped it at the top. And I'll show you how to rig that up next. And so you can change that on the fly. You can change it depending on where you're fishing. You can change it based on where in the water column the fish are and where they're biting. Just change your guessing game. You can try shallow, try deep if it's not hitting one way or the other. And so that is why fishing from shore with a slip bobber is a total game changer. Now here's how you actually rig it up. I've got some 12-pound test here, so it's a little bit heavier. Hopefully you can see this. This is going to be your stop. So it's just string. That's all it is. It's string, but it's wound up a lot of times and then tied off in a specific way. And then it comes on a little tube. All right. And the tube is handy because the first thing you do is you feed your line through it like that, and then you slide the tube out of the way. Okay? And then you pull your string slowly until it tightens into a knot. Now, I clip both ends off of this, but for the sake of brevity, we'll just get to it here. Now, I've pulled this about as tight as I can, and it's the friction is snug on the line, but I can grab it with my fingers and readjust. And this can get reeled up onto your line, especially on a spinning reel. So now I can slide it like that. And then these kits, they come with a bead as well. And so we've got this one happens to be a glow-in-the-dark bead. And just sit there and be patient and wait for me to get a bead onto a line. There we go. All right, so the bead is going to stop at the string, and the bead is going to stop the bobber. So one more time of waiting for Simon to feed line through something. There we go. There's your setup. That's it. What's also nice about it is it doesn't crimp your line like a foam bobber will with the little metal clasps. Sometimes that'll kind of crimp your line a little bit. This is just this is like a slick, really pro setup right here. So now you can see that when you cast it out, your bobber is going to go all the way to the bottom. Let's say your bait's down here on this end right here, right? You cast it out, the bead's going to follow it. You cast it, it's going to hit the water, Your line is going to feed through the float like that until it hits the stop. Boom, right there. And it's going to sit right there on top, and you'll be able to fish it just like you normally would. That, my friends, is a slip bobber. I'll put a link down below so you can get all this stuff. It all comes together in like one kit, and then you can buy more of the string and beads together, because these floats are like a couple bucks. So if you find yourself fishing a lot, I mean, usually I just leave the string on, on whatever my favorite live bait setup is going to be. I just leave the string on, and then you may never have to replace that string. It lasts a long time. You may just need a bead every now and then, which of course you can find those, little packets of beads in any tackle shop or whatever. And then you can buy these balsa wood floats in 3 packs, 5 packs, or just one off. And that's it. That's how you use a slip bobber, and that is going to change your live bait fishing game. We'll talk to you next time.